Thank you, guys. Yeah, by any chance, I switched to English, like we make a decision with organizers. Okay, let's start it. Thanks a lot for joining PyCon Belarus. I'm pleased to see everybody here, especially from committee team. We work hard to make this very to create the good conference. And today I would like to share with you like my journey regarding Ethereum. And I started working with this platform not so like long. It started from 2017 August. And very quick about me. I'm Python developer and I work sometimes as a Go developer. I built like small team, and it's Ukraine-based team, like of 15 developers, and we don't have any management. We just work remotely, and we like that we're small. And yeah, also I have my blog. You can find some maybe interesting stuff. And today I would like to show you maybe. My talk will be not so super technical, and you rest a little bit before after party, and I will show you some interesting stuff. If you know, blockchain is like yet another technique when it's like teenager sex. Everybody talks about it. Nobody really knows how to do it, but everybody else is doing it. So lots of people think that everybody else do it. And if you can see, you can just change the first word with like big data or machine learning. It's the same. It's like mainstream. I started learning this technology not because of fun or the cost of blockchain, just because our business needs. And it's strange, but blockchain technology first described by really unknown person who has named Satoshi Nakamoto. It's not real name, and everything started from his white paper. You can read it if you want. And honestly, I'm like major part of you who sit and watch movie. What's going on? By the way, how many of the audience has like 1 Bitcoin or 2 Bitcoins? Oh, okay. What about Ethereum? Okay. Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, and now I would like to show you this small like example how to understand how it works, and then we can understand better how to program everything. Let's imagine that we are sitting together with you on a bench in the park, and I have an apple. And we're discussing about you some interesting stories, and I would like to give an apple like my friend. And now you understand that physically, now I don't have apple, like I have 0 apples, and my friend have 1 apple, and that's really simple, yeah, right? There is no like problem with that. Another situation, let's imagine that I have digital apple. And I will give you my digital apple, and now it gets interesting, because how do you know that digital apple that I bring you is just 1 copy? Because I can do as many copies as you want, and nobody can control it, and it's really like it's really cool because, but. If you try to send some digital information, maybe it's not good that you can do. Okay, and as you can see, digital transferring or digital exchange is a little bit problem. And like sending digital apples does not look very simple like physical apples. And if you understand, this is not new issue. Correct? Like not because Bitcoin cost a lot, it's known issue which called double spending problem. You also can find like article about it, and from Cornell University. But don't worry about it. All you really need to understand that we try to figure out what we can do with it. And do you know what is it? I understand that we like have a header of the slide, but my idea to figure out, let's put ledgers. It's like account and book. You know, maybe I'm not sure about Belarus, but in Ukraine we still use it. Like technically for government, account manager use ledger and put all incomes physically. And let's imagine that we will get a ledger, and if I transfer by somehow you a digital copy of Apple, I will just create one record. And it's also a good choice, and we can control, we can always open ledgers and see, okay, Andrii transfer Apple to another person. This another person said to, I don't know, to Alice sent to Bob, and we can understand who is the owner of this Apple, digital Apple. But the problem that these ledgers physically one book, and let's say I am owner of it. That's why I can do some editing in the ledger, which does not make any sense. And I can again copy paste lots of digital apples, and yeah, nobody can control it. And do you have any ideas how we can solve this problem of copy pasting of digital apple? Yeah, it's yeah, but maybe we will start from more simple concepts. And the most simple solution is just, let's say, to share this ledger between all of in this audience, and technically we need some spreadsheet. And like I found in Reddit, I found very interesting thread where some people try to explain what is Bitcoin, what is blockchain compared to spreadsheets. And honestly, yeah, we can just share between all of us one spreadsheet. And if one person transfer apples, another person make some note in this spreadsheet, and we can share everything between internet. And what about Ethereum? Have you heard about this term? And compared to spreadsheet, what we can say about Ethereum? Any ideas?
Spreadsheet with Microscope.
Oh, you read my description of talk. Perfect. Yeah, but honestly, it's not my idea. I also found it in Reddit. It's really explanation that it's something like ledger, like spreadsheet, but you really, what can you do? You can do some programming, and it's really amazing because you can play with that as your common programmable blockchain. And if you know this story, when Vitaly Buterin go to big blockchain conference in United States, and there is no any Ethereum ideas or whatever, he just proposed to extend Bitcoin and blockchain to inject some programming, but it was really rejected. And then he, with another guys, to bring the idea of Ethereum. Okay, I think now we explain what is Ethereum, like to my mom or something like it, and everybody understand. And now let's dive into more complex things, like how all this stuff works. And the heart of the Ethereum platform, where we can build our own blockchains, it's very easy. It's like with Java. It's Ethereum virtual machine. It's how we can execute some code, and also we can calculate algorithmic complexity, and also we know that Ethereum virtual machine is Turing complete, and yeah, and that's how we can run applications, which and share it between the network. And like any blockchain, it can include peer-to-peer network. And yeah. Regarding Python, you can find that they rewrote the Ethereum virtual machine to Python language, which is really cool because you can understand how it works on your understandable language. Because if you came from another language, like it's complicated to understand how it's work. And another good example how you can imagine what's Ethereum and how they really promote it. And it's really, for me, confused a little bit that Ethereum is a world computer. And I guess, what does it mean? And it really means that it's super slow. If you work with that, you understand it's slow. The database is huge, it's grow fast, and yeah, there are a lot of advantages. Then you can't log in as a root because it's distributed. You can't do such stuff like remove everything or edit anything. And that's why lots of businesses like this idea. But you always keep in mind that it's slow. And it's like truly global singleton, like one computer for the planet, which cannot fail, cannot stop. They don't have any shutdown button. You can't just shut down it or power off. And and we can always check who sent message to like recipient, etc. Compared to like the big difference between blockchain, Bitcoin blockchain, that the basic unit of Ethereum is two types of accounts. And it's basis how you can deal with all stuff. First, it's like externally owned account. The name is a little bit tricky and complicated, but it's very easy. First type of account, it's when you generate some private public pair of keys, and you can just join to network, see balance, etc. And another type of account, it's just contract accounts. We can talk a little bit later about contracts. And this is main idea. Okay, and do you like beers? Guys, does anybody like beers? Okay. Does anybody know what is that? I will bring a beer, you can think 10 seconds. Any ideas? Can you please more loudly? Ruby on Rails, nice catch. Yeah, and lots of Python developers cut my legs after this. Yeah, and there is no any ideas. What does it mean? Yeah, from chemistry. Yeah, it's a class of organic compounds. Yeah, it's just you. Yeah, I understand that you guys really boring because it's end of the conference, and I just try to be with you and refresh your mind. Yeah, honestly, they get the idea of in English it's Ether. Yeah, Ether is a coin. In context of Ethereum. Ethereum is a platform which can build our own blockchain, and Ether is like a coin, and I will explain a little bit later how we can work with that. It's just name of a currency. It's currency when we pay for computational within, you remember, Ethereum virtual machine. And it's the core concept. If you understand it, nothing else, very simple. Like, if you need to execute something, you must pay for it. That's it. And yeah. And when first fuck up which I found for our project when we integrated that if you use public network of Ethereum, you must pay for generation smart contracts, and you typically should keep in mind it. But there are lots of good stuff regarding it in Ethereum. From another point, this protects our network from DDoS, correct? Because attackers can't do lots of stuff without paying like Ethereum network calls gas. And from another point, you can keep in mind your smart contracts code more clean from complexity, because if it's infinite loop, you will pay lots of money. It's like, I'm not sure, have you ever seen my talk about serverless? And I explained how one guy used serverless from Amazon AWS Lambda, and he ran a script for just cropped images for his just blog. And he forgot in JavaScript infinite loop, and Amazon bring him like couple thousands of dollars bill because he just make a small bug. But he used it because it's free, and he was really confused. He must pay for it. It's my favorite slide regarding explaining about CPU for Zoomers, I think. But I just need photos of CPU and memory. The key thing regarding Ethereum, that Ethereum makes proof of work not related to hardware. If you know, regarding blockchain Bitcoins, there are lots of dependency of hardware ASIC resistant. You understand? Like with provider ASIC. And everybody in the world understands that only specific hardware works well with Bitcoin, which not like make this network very good. That's why Ethereum try to avoid it. And when you calculate your next blockchain, and when we execute this proof of work, we can use CPU and memory. We pay for that, and we like divide it not just for specific hardware. And there is no like dominated by sellers who make a lot of money just to sell hardware. Maybe you understand that so huge price of Bitcoin because only specific hardware which problematic to buy, and these guys who make this hardware makes millions of dollars, not who just try to mine it. But from another thing, when you start working with that, you have a big issue. If you use test network and if you switch to production network, you have like two choices how get either. Otherwise, you can't build smart contracts. You can deal with your clients and etc. etc. And you can like do you can be a node which make technically as a miner, or you can just go and buy some Ethereum, which makes some problematic integration with existing businesses. From another point, mining, it's like for Ethereum, it's just when you secure network and like you verifying computation. That's help you to keep everything balanced. And yeah. Just quick example, I mean, maybe everybody from this audience tried a little bit once mine something. Am I right or not? Just to run script and see how many Bitcoins I can mine in like, I don't know, 5 minutes and be a billionaire. Yeah. And this is a very simple example how to be a miner. You just install some of clients, like in Python, we have CPython, it's Etalon version. In Ethereum, we have Guess, it's just Google Ethereum. It's also like Etalon version. And you can just run it, and you see hash rate, it's how fast you operate, like how many hash operation per second. And you can see balance, it's not my balance, but just example. And before 2016, it was really not stable. And before each release, they has a name. And for like now we have Homestead release, which stable officially, and we can use it on production. They release typically on P-Day. It's like the 14th of March. And yeah, there is no any release date for another version. But from my point, there are lots of issues when you migrate, because there are lots of inconsistency between previous versions, especially in writing contracts. There are lots of like it's like major version which now they describe that Serenity will break lots of stuff. That's why you should be very accurate. From another standpoint, you should understand that Ethereum is a blank canvas, and it will not provide you anything. It's just like network of nodes, and that's it. Everything else you should do by your hand. And you can see how network looks like from just monitoring stuff. It's public Ethereum network. I don't know, maybe it's Grafana or something like it. And you can go by this link and see in real time what's going on in public network. And I'm not sure. Yeah. I mentioned it's very tricky stuff regarding gas, but in my mind, gas, it's like how many money I need to pay to do some computations. And there are lots of balance tricks with gas and the cost of gas. And there are lots of parameters you can see. I mean, you can find it like in reference, but you can see that we have gas price, gas limit, etc., and other stuff, which help us to like estimate how many gas we need to like publish some like contract in the network, and it will help you estimate how many money you need. Because from my project, the main issue that we select Ethereum because we deal with a common problem of making like short contracts, not smart contracts, just short contracts. Like there are lots of, let's say 10,000 clients, and we need to make like a contract, official contract physical contract between bank and the client, and we can bring some money. And the issue that technically it's problematic to do so many contracts, physical contracts with this client. That's why we decided to deal with Ethereum. And you should understand that it costs money. Each contract will cost you money, depends on what condition you inject. And as any example or talk, you can see how it looks like. I mean, I'm not very advanced in like writing smart contracts, but you can see how it looks like. There are lots of opportunities how to run it, debug it. But the idea is very simple. You write a smart contract, technically on Solidity, it's programming language which is similar to Python or JavaScript. Then you should compile it, and then you have bytecode which you run on Ethereum virtual machine. This is the core concept. And when you do blockchain, you inject this contract to this blockchain. This is the key things. And you, as you remember, you have two accounts, and to publish contracts, you need both accounts because one account control contracts accounts. That's it. That's very simple how it works. Everything else you should do by your hand, write logic. I have like examples, Python wrapper. You can, I mean, there are lots of ideas how you can do it. You can just compile it and send it to network using RPC. You can use Web3 UI, which like you understand, drag and drop and type something without any programming skills, and etc., etc. Regarding Python, there is no lots of stuff which really helps us to work, but there are lots of prototyping that the Ethereum team does with Python. That's why we can see lots of libraries which technically depend on all libraries under the hood. It's just bindings. Technically, it's not Python itself. It's more or less just some wrappers. And like if you need Python app, you just fork Python app repository, which used by Ethereum, which written by Vitalik originally, but now contributing by community. Then you need network library, and yeah, etc., etc. Okay, I'm sure today to not like I don't know. The conclusions that I can make, the conclusions can be, it's really new, not super stable and slow technology. And you should, I don't know, 100 times think about it before you start working on it. If you start up just to, I mean, you know, there are two types of startups in blockchain world. Do you know it? First, it's transfer money, like wallets and like from Ethereum to Bitcoin to dollars, etc. It's one type startups. Like there are tons of such kinds startups. And another more interesting, when you can focus on dealing with contracts, and you can avoid third person between all of us, like we call ledgers or whatever, and just make a deal without any third parties, which makes sense. From another point, you need third party as a developer. That's why I think it's the same. In past, you need account manager, you need a lawyer, now you need programmer. Same, but yeah. Another conclusion that I did, better to focus on some more low-level languages like Go or Rust, if you're familiar with that. The third option is C++, because there are lots of wrappers, which works sometimes not so good. You still need to debug everything, and yeah, if you don't understand these languages, you can't work with wrappers, because it's just black box. And yeah, avoid wrappers. And yeah. Thank you a lot. And questions?
Thank you very much for your speech. I just wanted to ask, as a big data specialist, where is this all data about all the transactions stored?
Locally.
So we have a lot of people who are paying money to each other using Ethereum platform, and we have, well, lots of other information which is stored there.
Yeah.
So how it is replicated, where it is replicated, how to avoid, for example, the situations when hardware failures will occur, and it will occur in all the copies, for example.
All the copies?
Well, replication factor is equal to what? To 3, to 5, to 10. Well, explain to us things, please.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I forgot to mention, yeah, when you install everything locally or on some like VM, I don't know, you install as a node, and as I show on slide, if you would love to be a miner, you should explicitly say that you're a miner. I mean, otherwise you just run guess and you inside this connectivity. And the idea with Ethereum, it's like the full decentralized, and you store the full copy of database on your machine. There's a big issue because now it takes like, I'm not sure like the full size, but between 100 and 200 gigabytes, which grows. And I mean, like it's sometimes problematic run on your laptop. I'm talking about public network.
About all transactions in the world?
Yeah.
But imagine what will happen in 10 years. It will be terabyte. You won't be able even to...
This is the issue, yes. And there are lots of people think about it. I mean, it's something...
Still there are no solution, as I understand.
I mean, you can avoid using public network. You can run, lots of banks run Ethereum already on production on his own network, like absolutely private network where you control all nodes. You understand? And the idea that you can say all hardware can't fail because it means all hardware in the world in each node, which absolutely not control, because there is no central server which can say, oh, okay, this is like this data is more valuable than that, etc., etc. And another question that you ask.
Everybody is keeping all the information, all the ledger.
Yeah, this is idea of yeah.
But it will fail sometime.
Maybe.
And we all understand this.
I mean, I'm not very deep of implementation of replicate. I understand that your question, but I'm not sure that I can understand correctly how they replicate data between nodes. All I know that it's peer-to-peer sending data, but yeah, technically somebody asked that from audience. I think maybe it's snapshot somehow. But I mean, again, there are lots of notifications that probably you're not sure work it on production ready or something like it. Like technically yes, but there are lots of some open questions like you mentioned. I mean, sometimes like make a contract sometimes can take like 4-6 hours, like direct transferring between like if I want to send you money, like one Ether, you understand? It not immediately. It will take now like from my side, I remember like 4 or 6 hours, which big problem. You can't do real time sending money, and how you know how the exchange platforms does. They has a huge bank account of, let's say, dollars, and they just cash this money, and like you transfer between USD to Bitcoins, etc. And you not do it like immediately. If you work with bank systems, same problem with bank system. You know that Swift system works like 3 days. I mean, 2-3 days, not like 1 hour. When you send money, you wait 3 days.
Even one bank has terabytes of data on their servers.
Okay.
You're saying that hundreds of gigabytes is the weight of all the transactions in the world? Is that true?
Of public network. You understand? Public network only store the chain of blocks which started from the beginning. What do you mean all transaction? All transaction means nothing.
People are sending, okay, there are not so many people who are using Bitcoins, Ethereum and so on, but the amount of people becomes bigger and bigger. And the amount
I don't think so. I don't think so because it's very risky. If you see the chart of like exchange rate, you understand it's so risky. You understand? It costs today 200, then 800, then 300, etc., etc. It's absolutely risky.
sometimes it will stabilize.
No, I don't think so.
Ребята, я предлагаю к следующему
I
вопросу
mean,
перейти.
like it's just to see what can be in future. I just explained core concept. You can, I mean, if you need details, we can just open like source code and see exact how they replicate, how, etc., etc. I mean, it's not a big deal. Can do it after talk, no problem. I know where to check it.
Can we switch to another question here? All right, so if I got it correctly, Ethereum basically is a global computer with a distributed storage, which is verified by the community, right?
Yeah.
So the point is that I pay my computing, my code, the execution of my code with this Ether, so which is basically the fuel of the network, right? And the point is, if I base my business or whatever it is on like this computing platform, and I'm not able to control the cost of this fuel, whatever it is. I mean, don't I risk that at some point my business won't be profitable at all just because some miners got it to the stars?
Yeah, this is the main concern to avoid it. I mean, there is no. I mean, technically, what Ethereum team does when the coin cost like higher, they decrease gas cost and vice versa. You understand? They try to balance between coin and gas.
So
because
this is
gas
done on
coin,
protocol level?
Yeah?
This is done on protocol level, or?
I can't hear you, sorry. Can you loud?
Is this done by the developers at protocol level at some point, or how is controlled?
Yeah. It's inside platform, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not by hand. Like, it's just math formula which try to balance it a little bit. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.